Hey guys, I'm Carrie with Mama Dares to DIY, and I want to thank y'all for joining me for another do-it-yourself project today. If this is your first time visiting my channel, I want to say a big hello. My dog Diesel wants to say hello too. Or if you're a returning subscriber, I want to say welcome back, my friend. I've got lots of fun stuff planned, so if you want to be the first to know my latest and greatest DIYs as they're uploaded, you want to be sure and hit the subscribe button down below, and also ring that bell because that's going to give you all the notifications the minute that I upload. If you really enjoy this video, be sure to give it a big thumbs up. And also leave a comment. I love seeing everybody's comments, and I do try to reply to as many as I can. And also be sure to share this video with your friends because that's what good friends do, right? Okay, so now that all that stuff's out of the way, are y'all ready to see our next project? So today's project is all about fall, which I'm sure you could probably tell by my background here. But this project, y'all, is so super cute. I mean, look at this. This little fall garland is precious. I'm going to teach you everything you need to know, including how to make the tassels, as well as my super secret easy way to color the wooden beads. You're not going to want to miss this tutorial. I know it's like a 30-minute video, but trust me, you're going to want to stick around to the end. So keep watching. This step, we're going to be using scrapbook papers. I picked these up from Michael's. This one is called Colorful Leaves, and this one is called Multi Dots. And we're also going to be using some Mod Podge today. You can pick up Mod Podge at Walmart, at Michael's, any of your craft stores. But Dollar Tree also has the little bitty bottles of it, which would be plenty to do this project. Now, these two little shapes that I picked up, I'm going to be using today. I picked these up from Dollar Tree as well in their fall craft section. This one is the owl shape, and then this one is the leaf shape. We're also going to need a pencil. So the easiest thing to do is just figure out, exactly which way you want your shape. I don't want them all to be the same. I mean, I like that the leaves look like they're kind of fallen. So we're just simply going to trace around these and then cut them out. Now, I won't do all of these on camera. Obviously, that would take forever and a day. So we'll just do one, but I wanted you to see how you can lay them out. Okay, so there's my shape. I'm going to take my scissors and just cut around. I really like these scissors. They're the Fisker scissors, and they have like the spring action. Okay, so now that that is cut out, we want to check our shape. And you will want to go back and cut a little hole in there because we're going to string these up. Okay, so we want to take our Mod Podge, and I like to just pour a little bit out on a dish. And all we need is a paintbrush. So you just want to put some Mod Podge on your paintbrush and just paint it on. Kind of smells like school glue. What are some fun things that y'all like to do with Mod Podge? I don't use it as much as I probably should. There's so many things you can do with it. Okay, so now we've got this painted on, and we're just going to put our shape over the top. And like I said, don't fuss too much if it doesn't go exactly to the edge, or if your edge happens to be a little bit short. Once it's hung up, nobody's going to know, and it's totally not worth the headache. Okay, so now we've got Mod Podge on the bottom. Now we're going to put some Mod Podge on the top too. And I would wait until you're all done to go back and cut your hole. That way everything is nice and firm. You don't worry about tearing your paper. Uh-oh. Okay, so that's it. Now we're going to repeat the process for all of the leaves, and we're also going to repeat the process with the polka dots and our little owls. And we'll go ahead and do one of those on camera. Okay, so now we've got our little owl and we've got our little leaf. And now we're going to do the rest of these and we'll be back for another step. So hang tight. For the next step of our project, we're going to color our beads. I'm going to show you an easy way to color beads. It's going to save you so much time, you're not going to believe how easy it is. So the first thing we want to do is grab our beads. I actually ordered these from Amazon, and we're going to need our jute twine that I picked up from the Dollar Tree. We're simply going to string our beads onto our twine. I use 5 of these little beads on one string because I do have a small container that I'm using. If you have a lot of beads that you're coloring at once, feel free to use a bigger container. But for this project, I'm going to do 5 at a time, but I'm going to repeat this process twice because I'm using 10 blue beads total. So we'll get these strung on here. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Great. Now we're going to spread them out slightly just so that they don't touch. And now we're going to mix our paint up. For this paint, we're using 2 Craft Mart paints, 3 parts pumpkin, and 1 part espresso. And we're just simply going to put it in our small container, mix those up really good, and we'll add just a little bit of water to it. You want your mixture to be sort of thin. Just makes coloring your beads very easy. And now we just simply drop it into our container and make sure that all of your bead is covered. Your mixture is going to be sort of thin, so you will get sort of a translucent effect. If you feel like you want your paint to be a little more opaque, feel free to let this dry and then do this step again. But for this project, I really liked the opaqueness of it. So now we're just going to grab a little glass container and a clothespin. These clothespins are going to hold our beads in place. Isn't that easy? And we're going to allow these to dry. Now we're going to color our blue beads in the exact same manner. The blue paint that I'm using today is Miss Lillian's No Wax Chalk Paint in patina color. Give it a good shake, shake, shake. So now that our little wood shapes are dry and our beads are dry, we can start stringing this puppy up. Now we do need to go ahead and put our holes in our little wood shapes that have already got our paper on them, and that's really easy to do. So let me show you how we're going to do that. So these little shapes come with your little hangers. So to put your hole in there, you can turn it over, flip it over to the back, and you can see your hole. And I just like to take an X-Acto knife or something sharp and do a tiny little hole there. And you can take either the end of a pencil or the end of your paintbrush and just stick it through there. And that gives you a really nice clean hole. Okay, so now we're gonna take our little hanger here that came with our little shapes. We're just gonna fold it in half. We're gonna string it through the hole. And you may have to take your little hanger and twist it a little bit if it's kind of a little frayed. Sometimes it's hard to get in there. So once you get it through like this, just want to open up the loop and push your ends through your loop. And that's it. Now we're ready to get the next part done. Now don't worry too much about your ends being even, because these are all going to get covered up and you're never going to see that. Okay, so we'll do the same thing for our leaves too. Okay, y'all, for this next step, we're gonna need our shower curtain rings that I did pick up from the Dollar Tree. These come 12 to a box, and we're gonna use all 12 of these for our garland. If you don't need your garland to be as long as mine, you can, just use as many as you need. But for my garland, because I'm gonna put it on my floating shelves, I do need all 12 of these. So let's get started. We're gonna take out one of the rings, and these rings are really easy to just snap together. You can hear the little snap, but I do plan on putting a little bit of hot glue in there just to make sure that it's sealed tight. And let me share with y'all a little tip that one of my viewers told me about. She takes one of the little craft sticks, and that's how she holds her hot glue down. I can't remember the subscriber's name that gave me that little tip, but when I do remember it, I'm gonna be sure and give her a shout out on my channel, because that is a genius tip. Okay, now we're ready to get started. We're gonna use more of the jute twine that I got from the Dollar Tree. And to go all the way around this, it takes roughly 6 of your 16 inches. So you can either measure this out and do half and half, which is what I plan on doing, or you can go ahead and measure out all 6. But for me, I don't like fighting with, all of that bulk. So I'm just gonna do half of it at a time. Okay, so we just need a little bit of hot glue. And you want to start roughly in the middle part. You don't want to go all the way in the center, because we're going to take the rest of our, this is how we're going to attach our little wood pieces. So you want to leave the bulk of the middle open, but you can, start there. And you want to be sure to wrap it tight. And see, this is the reason that I say I don't like to use the whole bulk of it, because, you do have to pull it through. And that's all it is. It's just wrapping, wrapping, wrapping all the way around. You do want to make sure it stays tight. You shouldn't have to secure it with hot glue until you make your seam. So we're just gonna keep on wrapping. So we're about halfway done now, and this is how we're going to glue it down. It only takes a little drop of glue. So just put your little drop there. And then take your little craft stick and hold it down. Okay, now we're going to finish the rest of it. We're going to need 3 more links. And don't be exact, because it doesn't have to be exact. If you have any left over, you just snip it off before you glue it down. Okay, so now we're gonna Put another little drop of glue. Use your stick. And we're going to keep wrapping it until we get to the end. Stop right here because now we're going to add in our little wood cutout. The first one that I made of this, I went ahead and put my wood cutout on first, and it did make wrapping this a little bit hard. So I decided this would be much easier to just stop it here. Glue your little piece down so that it doesn't come unraveled. All that hard work we just did winding this up, we don't want to lose. So we just want to secure it. Okay, now we're going to take one of our little wood cutouts that we've covered in Mod Podge. And we're going to attach this to the center of this ring. And we need just a little drop of glue. So we'll put our hot glue in the center there. And we're going to put our little wood cutout there. We're going to hold it just for a second to let it dry. You know, your cutout can hang down as much as you want it to. There's no right or wrong way to do it. It's just, you know, wherever you plan on putting it. Okay, and that's it. Now we can finish winding around the rest of our twine, and we'll secure the end. We're going to repeat the process for the leaf one. So now we've got a leaf, and we've got our little owl cut out. So now we can start stringing her up. We've got one of each. We've got our beads that are dried, and we've got our twine, and that's all we need to make this happen. So our twine that we're going to use to string, we need it to be at least 18 inches to make the beads and the knots happen. If you want to cut it a little bit longer, it's definitely easier to cut off the excess than you do if you accidentally cut it too short. So we just want to string our twine through one of our shower curtain loops. We're going to add a blue bead. Now for this part, you do want to try to keep your ends the same. It just makes it a little bit easier when you string your beads on. I don't use a needle, but you know, if you feel like you want to use a needle, the beads, the holes that are in the beads just aren't very big. So, you know, needles don't really work well for those. Okay, so y'all know I'm an eyeball kind of girl, and we're just gonna kind of eyeball our knot. And this knot, you want it to kind of go to the edge, and if you don't tighten it down, you can push your knot. So once you kind of get it where you want it to go, then just give it a big pull, and that'll tighten it down. So again, I'm eyeballing. I'm going to roughly do 2 finger lengths. We're just going to tie another knot and measure with our finger lengths where our other knot needs to go. And you just push it. Don't tighten it down until you get it where you want it. And then you just give it a pull to tighten it down. Okay? So now we need an orange bead. If your ends get a little frayed, you can just take your finger and kind of push them together like that, and that should help them. And if you get a crazy one like this, just snip it down. It makes threading your beads a lot easier. Okay. So now we're going to tie this knot to secure our orange bead down. And give it a snug tug. Isn't that adorable? Oh, I just love it so much. Okay, 2 finger lengths. about right. You know what? And if you mess it up, so what? Untie it and retie it. It's not a big deal. Crafting's supposed to be fun. Don't stress over it. You know, just have fun with it. Don't worry about anybody else's opinions on your crafts. Okay, now we're ready to attach it to our other end. We're just going to string it through. We're going to glue our ends together. So just cut off your excess. I do want my ends to be able to move, so I don't want it to, you know, really glue to my shower curtain ring here. So we have to be really, really careful. And you know, we're not going to be playing jump rope with this, so you don't have to worry about it, you know, being able to hold body weight or anything. It's, you know, it's just for decoration, so it doesn't really matter as long as it's kind of stuck. Okay, y'all. There it is. Isn't that cute? Okay, now we have to repeat this until all of our shapes are done. And then we'll be right back and I'll show you how to string them all together. Okay, so I've got 2 sets made here. And to connect these 2 pieces together, we're gonna do just like we did with this. Maybe easier to glue these together before I cut them off. Let's try that and see if it's easier. A little bit of glue, not much. Now we'll snip it off. Okay. What do y'all think? Isn't that adorable? I can't wait to see this hung up on my shelves. If you missed my shelves tutorial, you can check out my blog. I've got how-to instructions on how I made that. So I'm gonna finish up the rest of this and then okay, y'all, so I've got all of my little pieces strung together. And I actually decided to not use one of my little owls because I wanted to be able to end on the same leaf on the edges. So I do have one owl left over, so I figured it was going to bother me if they didn't start and stop on the same pattern. So, you know, that's just my OCD. You do. If you're okay with that, then definitely go ahead and use all of them. But now on the end, to finish it off, I decided I wanted to make a cute little tassel. I just think it kind of adds something, and plus it helps to put a little bit of weight on that end there. Now to be able to do this, it's super easy. We're going to use our same jute cord that we used in the whole project, and it's as simple as wrapping your twine. Now go ahead and cut you a piece about 18 inches again, and this is what's going to be the long part of our tassel. So just hold on to this, cut it, and kind of set it aside. Now take your string again, hold some in your hand, and we're going to wrap it. We're going to wrap it roughly 12 times. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay? Now just cut. Okay, now we're going to take our 18-inch string that we've already cut. We're going to string it through. Try to get your ends the same. Okay, we're going to tie a knot. So loop it through, pull it tight, and then we're going to put a knot in it. just like so. Okay, the next part we want to do is to cut our tassels. So take your scissors and slide it through all of your loops, just like this, and cut. Now, the little beads that we used from our project, I'm actually going to put one of these in the middle of my tassel. You don't have to. I just like the way that it kind of gives it a little fullness, a little roundness. So I decided I wanted to do that. So you will need just a little bitty piece of string, not much, just a little scrap piece. So we're going to take our bead and slide it in the middle. And if you want to, you can put your little, a little dab of hot glue there, just so it doesn't kind of roll around like that. You just want to kind of hold it in place. Now, just take your jute and sort of fan it out to cover up your little bead. Okay. Now, we're going to take our scrap piece of jute. We're going to find the end. You can feel your bead. And before you glue it down, pull it super tight. We'll clip that end off, but it just helps if you kind of keep your end a little bit long so you can get a nice pull on it. So put a little bit of glue, wrap it, and pull. And just hold it there for a second, just to hold it, just so that that gets locked good in place. You can either snip this piece off or you can wrap it around. It's up to you. You just wrap it around as many times as you want to. I think I wrapped this one maybe 5 or 6 times, and I pull it tight each time. That looks pretty good. So now before you cut it off, put your little dab of glue, hold it, and then we're going to take our little stick again and hold it down. And just trim off that edge. And there's our tassel part. Isn't that adorable? I just love it. Okay, so y'all know we're not measuring again, but that's a little bit less than 2 finger lengths for me. So we'll tie another knot. There we go. We'll string a blue bead. Oh, and see my edges got off, so we'll just snip that one so that it's easier to thread. So we'll put our blue bead on just like we did on the rest of the garland. And we'll tie another knot in the top. Give it a good pull. We'll measure 2 lengths. We'll string our orange one. My jute is not wanting to cooperate. It's got some squirrely tags on it. Okay. Sometimes it helps if you just spin your beads. That kind of helps to push them in. Okay. And we'll do another 2. cut this one close. This is why I tell y'all, cut your strings a little bit long. I didn't do that. Whoopsie. It's all right. It's pretty close. Close enough. The good thing is we don't have to tie a knot in the top. We're just gonna hot glue it to the back here. So we're still in good shape. Okay. And now for the back of it, I just simply hot glued it on. The back of this is not going to be seen, so we'll just take a little bit of hot glue. Put it on like that. And just press it down. Use your little stick. And that's it. Y'all, this garland is done. Isn't it pretty? I can't wait to get it hung up and on my shelf. And as soon as I do that, I will give y'all a sneak peek. Okay, y'all, I really hope y'all like the way this project turned out. I had intended on putting this beautiful garland on my floating shelves, like I said in the beginning, but I ended up putting it on my bookcase just to see what it would look like for photos. And y'all, I really like it. Which one do y'all think it looks better on? Help me decide.